Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Don't wait for the right opportunity. Create it. People who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. The optimist invents the aeroplane, the pessimist, the parachute. Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Success does not consist in never making mistakes, but in never making the same one a second time. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. A life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. After all, the wrong road always leads somewhere. Beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. War does not decide who is right, but who is left. There are two tragedies in life. One is to lose your heart's desire. The other is to gain it. Youth is wasted on the young. A gentleman is one who puts more into the world than he takes out. There is no love sincerer than the love of food. I learned long ago never to wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. All great truths begin as blasphemies. Take care to get what you like, or you will be forced to like what you get. Islam is the best religion, and Muslims are the worst followers. Without art, the crudeness of reality would make the world unbearable. English is the easiest language to speak badly. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Make it a rule never to give a child a book you would not read yourself. A cigarette is a pinch of tobacco rolled in paper with fire at one end and a fool at the other. I often quote myself. It adds spice to my conversation. Self-control is the quality that distinguishes the fittest to survive. He who can does, he who cannot teaches. Life is not meant to be easy, my child, but take courage. It can be delightful. To be in hell is to drift. To be in heaven is to steer. Dancing is a perpendicular expression of a horizontal desire. A happy family is but an earlier heaven. Whiskey is liquid sunshine. I'm not a teacher, only a fellow traveler of whom you asked the way. I pointed ahead of myself as well as you. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. My religion, well, my dear, I am a millionaire. That is my religion. Patriotism is your conviction that this country is superior to all others because you were born in it. Any man who is not a communist at the age of 20 is a fool. Any man who is still a communist at the age of 30 is an even bigger fool. The only time my education was interrupted was when I was in school. All progress depends on the unreasonable man. The possibilities are numerous once we decide to act and not react. We are made wise not by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility for our future. If you begin by sacrificing yourself to those you love, you will end by hating those to whom you have sacrificed yourself. If you teach a man anything, he will never learn. Only fools repeat the same things over and over, expecting to obtain different results. The harder I work, the more I live. Most people do not pray, they only beg. The secret to success is to offend the greatest number of people. Some people look at the world and say, why? Some people look at the world and say, why not? The longer I live, the more convinced am I that this planet is used by other planets as a lunatic asylum. To be a champion, you must live like one. As long as I have a want, I have a reason for living. Satisfaction is death. Imagination is the beginning of creation. A photographer is like a cod, which produces 1,000,000 eggs in order that one may reach maturity. The power of accurate observation is commonly called cynicism by those who have not got it. Now that we have learned to fly the air like birds, swim underwater like fish, we lack one thing: to learn to live on earth as human beings. He knows nothing and thinks he knows everything. That points clearly to a political career. Life is too short for men to take it seriously. The man who has never made a mistake will never make anything else. Happy is the man who can make a living by his hobby. The liar's punishment is not in the least that he is not believed, but that he cannot believe anyone else. Man's inhumanity to man is only surpassed by his cruelty to animals. My specialty is being right when other people are wrong. When a man wants to murder a tiger, he calls it sport. When a tiger wants to murder him, he calls it ferocity. Imitation is not just the sincerest form of flattery, it's the sincerest form of learning. The fact that a believer is happier than a skeptic is no more to the point than the fact that a drunken man is happier than a sober one. Better never than late. Youth is a wonderful thing. What a crime to waste it on children. A fool's brain digests philosophy into folly, science into superstition, and art into pedantry, hence university education. Marriage is an alliance entered into by a man who can't sleep with the window shut, and a woman who can't sleep with the window open. If at age 20 you are not a communist, then you have no heart. If at age 30 you are not a capitalist, then you have no brains. All autobiographies are lies. I do not mean unconscious, unintentional lies. I mean deliberate lies. Some look at things that are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Better keep yourself clean and bright. You are the window through which you must see the world. The only sensible person is my tailor. He measures me anew each time he sees me. The function of the actor is to make the audience imagine for the moment that real things are happening to real people. I want to be all used up when I die. Patriotism is a pernicious, psychopathic form of idiocy. Hegel was right when he said that we learn from history, that man can never learn anything from history. The unconscious self is the real genius. Your breathing goes wrong the moment your conscious self meddles with it. Indifference is the essence of inhumanity. England and America are two countries separated by the same language. There is only one religion, though there are 100 versions of it. If you leave the smallest corner of your head vacant for a moment, other people's opinions will rush in from all quarters. Tradition will accustom people to any atrocity. I never resist temptation, because I have found that things that are bad for me do not tempt me. Youth, which is forgiven everything, forgives itself nothing. Age, which forgives itself everything, is forgiven nothing. Use your health even to the point of wearing it out. That is what it is for. Spend all you have before you die. Do not outlive yourself. We have no more right to consume happiness without producing it than to consume wealth without producing it. I am the most spontaneous speaker in the world because every word, every gesture, and every retort has been carefully rehearsed. The great advantage of a hotel is that it is a refuge from home life. The truth is the one thing that nobody will believe. You have learnt something that always feels at first as if you had lost something. What we want is to see the child in pursuit of knowledge, and not knowledge in pursuit of the child. Sherlock Holmes was a drug addict without a single amiable trait. I don't know if there are men on the moon, but if there are, they must be using the Earth as their lunatic asylum. Marriage is popular because it combines the maximum of temptation with the maximum of opportunity. Being a mother means that your heart is no longer yours. It wanders wherever your children do. Doing what needs to be done may not make you happy, but it will make you great. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. All great art and literature is propaganda. If the English can survive their food, they can survive anything. What a man is depends on his character, but what he does and what we think of what he does depends on his circumstances. I never expect a soldier to think. You use a glass mirror to see your face. You use works of art to see your soul. The price of ability does not depend on merit, but on supply and demand. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. Morality is not respectability. The worst sin toward our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them. That's the essence of inhumanity. Liberty means responsibility. That is why most men dread it. One man that has a mind and knows it can always beat 10 men who haven't and don't. Reasonable men adapt themselves to their environment. Unreasonable men try to adapt their environment to themselves. Thus, all progress is the result of the efforts of unreasonable men. A man learns to skate by staggering about and making a fool of himself. Indeed, he progresses in all things by resolutely making a fool of himself. Science never solves a problem without creating 10 more. Hell is paved with good intentions, not with bad ones. All men mean well. If history repeats itself, and the unexpected always happens, how incapable must man be of learning from experience? Kings are not born, they are made by artificial hallucination. As well consult a butcher on the value of vegetarianism as a doctor on the worth of vaccination. I never thought much of the courage of a lion tamer. Inside the cage, he is at least safe from people. If in the library of your house you do not have the works of the ancient Greek writers, then you live in a house with no light. The mathematician is fascinated with the marvelous beauty of the forms he constructs, and in their beauty he finds everlasting truth. He who has never hoped can never despair. Virtue is insufficient temptation. Don't waste time collecting other people's autographs. Rather devote it to making your own autograph worth collecting. The things most people want to know about are usually none of their business. Which painting in the National Gallery would I save if there was a fire? The one nearest the door, of course. The way to deal with worldly people is to frighten them by repeating their scandalous whisperings aloud.